Hello everybody, I'm a happy boy. I am happy to tell you that the bezel fix on the King Samurai was successful. So, before fixing the bezel, it was just practically unusable. It was so hard to turn the bezel. It was in most cases like practically undoable. But now, it's still not light, but it is like 100 times easier than it was before. I can actually use the bezel finally. And you know, it's not too light, which is good. I don't like a too light bezel, but I also don't like a too tight bezel. So it's just right in between now. Okay, so what was the fix? If you remember in my previous video, I showed the bezel taken off, and under the bezel there is a ring which has two parts sticking up, and those make the clicks. And if you didn't watch that video, then go ahead and watch it, because you will see the ring there, and the ring was like this. So it was like bent upwards, and those sticky things that make the clicks, they sticked up even more. So what I did, I just made it flat. I made the ring flat. So instead of like this, I made it flat, which meant that those sticky things or pointy things, they didn't point so much upwards, but less. So that's why it is now much easier to turn the bezel, because there is just less pressure on the or against the bezel, and less friction and so on. And there's also a gasket in the bezel, which has nothing to do with water resistance, but I just applied some silicone grease on the gasket, and then I put the bezel back. Then I have this thing here, this multifunction spray. I sprayed the edges of the bezel here, and it trickled down, and it gives it some more lubrication, and the bezel is like, it is actually usable. So I'm a happy boy. The bezel has been fixed. The bezel is fixed. It's a success. So really, I can tell you, if you have a watch with a extremely stiff or tight bezel, just remove the bezel and check the ring and make it flat. Now it is quite easy to get off the bezel. I show you how I did it. I have this thing here. I put this tape on the edge, on the, yeah, of course it's came off, or it's come off, but you just have to stick something there, otherwise it's gonna scratch up the case. And you just open it. You just go under, in between the case and the bezel, and you just open it, and it pops off, and then you have access to the ring. Now, putting the bezel back was extremely hard on this watch. I also did this bezel removal on my SKX, and it was much easier to put back the bezel. But on this one, I'm not joking, I had to step on it. I had to use my whole body weight. I'm about around 80 kilos, and I had to use my whole body weight to snap back the bezel. It's just so extremely hard to put the bezel back. I couldn't do it with bare hands. I couldn't do it like, you know, obviously I removed the bracelets of the bracelet. I couldn't do it by pressing on it this way or this way. It didn't matter. I had to literally step on it and use my entire all 80 kilos to put the bezel back in. Crazy. So one problem is fixed with this watch. Now the bezel is usable. And even without all this lubrication with this spray, even without this, it's usable. Now the only remaining problem with the watch is the movement. It loses 30 seconds a day, as I said in my previous video, so I will have to open it up and regulate it. I used to have a time grapher when I regulated my SKX, but I sold it because I didn't really want to deal with regulating my watches. But this is minus 30 seconds is just too much, so I'm gonna have to open it up and just, yeah, play around with this little lever that with which you can regulate the watch. Yeah, but right now I just leave it as it is and enjoy my super usable bezel. And just to compare it with the Tritone is the extreme opposite. It's just way too light to turn. There's almost no resistance, and I wish it was the opposite, because if you have a stiff bezel, it seems it's very easy to fix. But if you have a loose bezel, what you do then, especially on a tuner, I don't even want to attempt to remove the bezel, because I do not want to scratch up the case or the bezel. It's too expensive for that. This one is too expensive for me to scratch it up. This one, you see there are scratches there where I removed the bezel. I don't care. This is a cheap watch compared to the tuner. So yeah, but yeah, the tuner is just, yeah, the only flaw of the tuner, the only problem with the tuner is the bezel. That the bezel is just way too light. This is the only problem with the tuner. Otherwise, it's perfect. The quality is awesome. It's beautiful. It's got the best lume. It's quartz. It has day date. Only the light bezel is the problem. Now this one had, the bezel was the problem. Now it's fixed. The movement remains to be fixed, to be regulated. Yeah, otherwise it's just such a beautiful watch. These watches, these are my best Seikos, really. My best Seikos. Oh, I also have the SKX and the Solar Tuner. And do I have anything else from Seiko? Wait a minute. Oh yeah, the vintage 7548. These are my best Seikos. And I've been saying that I've had enough of automatics, and yes, I have, but still, the design and style of this watch, of the Samurai, especially the King Samurai, with this beautiful ceramic bezel insert and everything which makes it a King Samurai, and with this, the case design and everything, and this style is just so beautiful, it's just so unique, so special, so amazing, that I forgive that it has an automatic movement. I forgive and I keep it. Yeah. Now I talked about the Tritone briefly in the previous video. I will have to make a separate video about this, but I upgraded the bezel insert to this sapphire insert, and I cannot move the bezel because the insert is stuck to the case, and this was my second attempt. At my first attempt, I actually damaged the bezel insert, so this is a second bezel insert and my second attempt, but it's still unsuccessful. Otherwise, the Tritone has a beautiful, fantastic bezel action, but yeah, the insert is stuck to the case and it just doesn't move. Yeah, I messed it up. It's, yeah, this is a fail, this is a success. I mean, it can be fixed, so no big deal, but it's just time and effort, and I don't have it right now extra for this one. Yeah, okay, so I'm very happy for the King Samurai. Now it's a even more fantastic watch. I really like it as a watch. I love it. It's just amazing. I love to wear it. Thanks for watching and goodbye.